Hello everyone, welcome back, and today I just wanted to talk about some Barcelona news of the day. I think there's a lot of stuff going on around the club. Laporta's possibly thinking about letting go of Xavi, and who would he replace Xavi with in the summer if that does happen. There's also some talk about the fullback situation at the club and Ronald Araujo being linked away from the club, so I just wanted to talk about all of that today. And the first topic I wanted to talk about was Thiago Motta, because I will be completely honest, in my opinion, I think Xavi is going to stay at Barcelona in the summer, and maybe that's the best option for the club. I wouldn't mind starting fresh with someone new, but it just seems like that's what's going to happen. Even with all this news that, Laporta was offended by the comments that Xavi made, I still have a feeling that Xavi is going to stay at the club. But if he does leave, Thiago Motta is one of the names to replace him. And in my opinion, I would think that would be a great coaching candidate. I think he's done very well with Bologna. He's gotten them into the Champions League for the first time in, I want to say, like 25 years for Bologna. But to be honest, it looks likely that he is off to Juventus. And I think if Thiago Motta was the target for Barcelona in the summer, they waited too long. I think they could have made it happen if they would have pitched their idea, pitched their game plan to Thiago Motta, but I think he's already confirmed that he's basically signing with Juventus. And, the club, I think, just waited too long. And, yeah, it just seems like they've handled this situation pretty poorly. I would be very happy if at some point Thiago Motta did coach Barcelona. We'll have to see how well he does with Juventus if that is the move that he decides to make. And I think that's a good step in his career from Bologna to Juventus to gain a little bit more experience at a bigger club. And yeah, I think that'd be great, but I think right now in the summer, Thiago Motta, I don't think he's coming to Barcelona, even though we're seeing, a lot of links that Laporta's entourage, they're trying to suggest to Laporta that he should fire Xavi and hire Thiago Motta as his replacement. And if Xavi really does leave the club in the summer, it's just a complete mess from Laporta, because he could have had a couple more months to prepare the team for the summer. But then he decided to keep Xavi. He decided to, try and convince him to stay. And that happened. Laporta did try and convince Xavi to stay, and it seems like it worked. But then after the comments that Xavi made about the fact that Barcelona can't go out and buy whoever they want, he got offended by those comments. And in my opinion, I think that is true. I know we've seen a lot of reports, and some of that could be just a little bit of mess and bait from the media. But in my opinion, I do think that really did happen, because there have been too many reports basically confirming the same story. And Laporta hasn't come out and said anything, basically denied the rumors. So I think that has happened. Maybe Laporta, he needs a little bit more time to reconsider. And basically it's reported that he's waiting until the end of the season, because Xavi did say he was supposed to meet with Laporta, but then Laporta, he got sick. Some people are saying he wasn't sick. I'm guessing he was probably just sick and maybe didn't want to meet up with Xavi at that day. Maybe he needs a little bit more time to, decide the future of the club. And I understand it's a huge decision, but in my opinion, I think the majority of this, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Xavi is going to leave after Laporta basically begged him to stay for a couple months. And then Xavi just announced that he's staying next season. Xavi said he's excited. He's eager to, be with the squad in the preseason and start again next year to go for all trophies. I don't think that Xavi is going to leave. Like I said, Thiago Motta, when Xavi initially announced he was leaving, that was one of the candidates that I was most excited about. And we'll see, if maybe I was right to be excited about that, depending on how well he does at Juventus. But like I said, he's most likely going to Juventus. I don't see any of this talk around a new coach happening. And I think it's more likely that Barcelona will stay with Xavi for one more year, and then in 2025 they'll look to hire a new coach for the long-term future of the club. And moving on from the coaching situation, I wanted to talk about Ronald Araujo, because there have been some links, of course, to Bayern in the past couple months, but then there were also links about Aston Villa, who just qualified for the Champions League, are looking to sign Ronald Araujo in the summer. I really don't think we should believe any of this, and some Barcelona fans were a little bit worried about Araujo's caption on Instagram. He said something like, last game at home, but I think it was because it was Barcelona's, last home game of the season. I don't think he was saying he wasn't going to be there at Barcelona next year. I don't think we should maybe look too much into that. There have been some reports, and I don't think Araujo is, came out and said, I'm 100% guaranteed to stay at Barcelona. I think, maybe he'll potentially listen to offers, but I don't think he would leave for Bayern or Aston Villa in the summer. I have a very good feeling that he's going to be staying at Barcelona, but I can't confirm that. And even if the club receives a $100 million offer for Araujo, I just don't think they should weaken the club and sell him. I know the financial situation, it's difficult, but selling one of your most important players, given the fact that you also just went trophyless, I don't think it's really taking the club in the right direction. And, with Ronald Araujo, I think a lot of fans are upset about that huge mistake that he had against PSG in the Champions League, which ultimately, that was the reason that Barcelona did get knocked out. No offense to Araujo, but that was the reason that happened. But one mistake cannot overlap all the great things that Araujo has done during his time at the club. I think he's been one of the main reasons why Barcelona has been serious in the past couple years. I think he's been such a crucial part of the team, And I don't think Barcelona should even be thinking about selling him in the summer, even given the financial situation. Yeah, he should be untransferable, in my opinion, and I hope that's the case, and I think that Araujo, he will be staying at Barcelona this summer. And then I also wanted to quickly talk about the fullback situation, because to me, it's not guaranteed that Cancelo will be staying at Barcelona, and I think the fullback situation at right back, it's going to be Jules Kounde and Julian Araujo, who's currently on loan at Las Palmas. I think he's having a pretty good season. I haven't really kept up with them much, but I heard some promising things about him, so hopefully he can come back in preseason and see how well he does, and if he could be the backup right back for Barcelona. And then at left back, of course, it's going to be Alejandro Balde. Marcos Alonso is going to be leaving Barcelona on a free transfer because his contract is done. And then the backup left back, I think, would be Hector Fort because, in my opinion, I think he's shown his worth in games. It's reported that he's just signing a new long-term contract with Barcelona. I think he's going to stay at the club. And I think, with the talent that he currently has, even though he's just 17 years old, I think he has the ability to be Barcelona's backup left back next season. And would that be enough cover? I think, would that be an upgrade on the current fullback situation? I think, most of the time Kounde would be starting at right back, and then if Julian Araujo impresses during preseason, I think he'd be good enough for a backup right back. And then also at left back, hopefully Alejandro Balde would be fit and healthy next season. And obviously that injury, that did hurt Barcelona's defense. And I don't think he was really having the best year even before the injury, but I still think he has so much promise. And, I think, in my opinion, he's one of the best players in the world in that position. He has so much potential, so he should be Barcelona's starting left back. And then Hector Fort, I think he would be able to be back up next year. And the Cancelo situation, I'll probably talk more about that in another video, but I don't think it's a necessity for Barcelona to buy him. And I think, my opinion and a lot of Barcelona fans' opinions have changed within the last couple months with him because at the beginning of the season, he was one of the most influential players on the squad, and he was really helping Barcelona going forward. But just in those big games, in those big moments, you can't have that big of a defensive liability on the field and expect not to concede a couple. And I just think the Clásico and the PSG game, man, that really put a damper on his value for Barca fans. And it's understandably so because, you just can't make that many mistakes. You just can't let that many goals coming in from your side in those big moments. And I don't know, maybe that's a little bit harsh because he's been very good this season, and he was one of the main reasons why Barcelona did place first in the Champions League group stage because of his performance and his great goal and assist against Porto. I don't think we should forget all the good that Cancelo has done, and I think overall it's been a positive loan experience. But if you're asking Barcelona to spend, 15, 20 million on a player that's, I think he's 29, 30 years old, I don't know if that's the best piece of business. But again, I would not be mad if Cancelo does join Barcelona permanently in the summer. But at the same time, it's not a mandatory signing that the club needs to make. I think they'd be okay with Kounde, Julian Araujo, Alejandro Balde, and Hector Fort. Even though Cancelo, I don't think he would be a bad upgrade. It's not a position that Barcelona needs to be spending 15 to 20 million on, in my opinion. And then I also wanted to just quickly talk about Jules Kounde because I think he's done so well in that right back position. And I know there was a lot of talk about, he played right back last year and he was one of the main reasons why Barcelona's defense was so good and conceded such few goals in the league. But then there was a lot of talk that he didn't feel comfortable there. He wanted to switch to center back because that's where he sees his long-term future at. But I think he's worked very well in that position. I think he would play right back for France. I don't think he'd be playing center back. I think that might be his long-term position for Barcelona, for club and country. So I wouldn't be mad if he's continuing to play right back. I think maybe that's the best position. At least from what we've seen, I think that's been his best spot for the club. But I think he's done very well there, and if he's continuing to feel more comfortable, especially given the fact that Lamine Yamal is starting at right wing, I just think that gives him a lot more freedom to go forward because, yes, Kounde, he's not the best going forward, but I think he does overlap pretty well, and he's able to stay back and defend, sometimes not the most, not the best 1v1 defender. Sometimes wingers are able to get the best out of him with pace and just, with a little bit of good dribbling. But I don't think it's a bad spot for him. I think for the long-term future of Kounde at Barcelona, that might be his best position. And then some more Barcelona transfer news. Chadi Riad, who currently plays on Real Betis, he was bought from Barcelona a couple years ago, I think, and he did very well at Real Betis, and now he's being targeted by Crystal Palace. And the rumored fee is around 12 to 15 million currently. And Barcelona, they will receive 50% of that sell-on because that was what was put in his contract when Real Betis did sign him. And I think that's a good piece of business. I was pretty excited for him to eventually come back to Barcelona because I think he looked like a pretty exciting prospect. And I think he's done very well with Real Betis this season. But yeah, for business, it's not the worst idea for Barcelona to get, around 6 to 10 million. I could see that's the amount that they get from the sell-on clause. So that's pretty good business for Barcelona, and any money helps, of course, in this situation. And then I also wanted to talk about Alexia Putellas signing a contract extension with Barcelona's women's team until 2026. And that's a great signing for the club. I think, she's one of the faces of Barcelona's women's team, and so that's a great signing to renew her contract. And I think they're also playing in the Champions League final pretty soon. I'm definitely going to have to try and watch that because I don't watch as many Barcelona women's games as I should, but I know they're an incredible team. I think they just won 8-0 in their last game, so I definitely want to continue to keep up with them more. And about the Xavi Simons situation, we really haven't heard any additional news. I think most of the reports that are coming out are basically saying the same exact thing, that Xavi Simons, he has the ability to choose his next club, and Barcelona, they are in the running for him. And to be honest, I think that's a signing that I could see Barcelona being able to make in the summer, given the fact that it's on a free transfer because it's just on a loan. So I guess it's not a free transfer, but it's on a loan. I would hope it would be with an option to buy, but I think the option to buy would be pretty high given the fact that he's on PSG. So I don't know if Barcelona would be able to buy him permanently in the summer. But yeah, I think he'd be a great signing. I would love to see him joining the club, and I think him and Balde on the left side would be a great upgrade and a great addition to the team. I think he'd be one of the signings that could really help Barcelona in the summer, and I could see the club being able to make it happen. So yeah, I'm really excited about the prospect of Xavi Simons rejoining Barcelona. And as always, thank you very much for watching my video. I do appreciate it. And if you all have any other suggestions of videos I should make, I would love to make them, and I'd love to talk about it. So thank you all very much for the support. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Visca Barca. See you all later. Peace.